Okay.
All right, so welcome. I'm Representative Tristan Toleno, and I recently was elected to be the Windham County Democrats Chair, and I'm here in the State House. All right, so welcome. Hold on one second, I have this background. I need to mute it. Apologize. Recently was elected to be the Windham County. Sorry about that, I forgot to do that. And tomorrow there is an election for the Vermont Democratic Party chair position. And earlier today, I had a similar conversation with Faisal Gill, who is also running for the position. And now I have a chance to host a conversation with Nick Clark. Thank you for joining me, and to talk about your candidacy and to share that with actually, it's shared with anyone who wants to see it, but I've sent the link out through my personal Facebook page, but also the Windham County Democrats page as well. And there will be, after you and I are done with this, a few-minute delay, and then YouTube will have a streamable view of this that's available after, and I'll make sure you have that. Welcome. I see you're in your car.
Yes.
Sort of the miracle of modern technology, though, that we are doing live television, you from your car and you from the floor of the house. Yeah. That people around the world, if they knew about it, could dial, could be connected and send us questions through a live chat. It's pretty awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you would like me to know. This serves two purposes. I will be a voter tomorrow, so you can share a little bit about yourself with me. We've never met before, I don't think. And then also sort of what your ideas are for the Democratic Party. I'll ask you some questions as they come up, and then we'll wrap it up when it's time.
Definitely. So I grew up in Norwich, Vermont, and went to Hanover High School across the river. I got started very actively in politics by volunteering for Bernie Sanders in the New Hampshire primary about a year and a half ago. When the primary ended, the people involved in that local campaign office sort of lost the place they had to go to socialize. So I founded a group called Upper Valley Young Liberals that worked really hard to keep those people active and sort of retask them towards local projects. So we did a few legislative races in the area. We sent 2 national delegates to Philadelphia from our group. We've hosted conferences on sustainability and on racial justice. We did a little lobbying against an anti-homelessness ordinance in Lebanon, New Hampshire. And right now we're working on some municipal races, trying to get more people involved in the party. We just organized the town of Sharon. We have an 18-year-old female who is the new vice chair of the Windsor County Dems. And so that is a lot of the work I do. The background is sort of grassroots organizing, but also focusing a lot on young adults with the idea that that is the best time to sort of instill in them this habit of civic participation. I was not planning on running for interim chair. I admit that I felt that my chances were low and that there would be a steep learning curve. But someone in the Northeast Kingdom in the party asked me to run, and then someone else asked me to run, and then the third person asked me to run. And they expressed that they didn't feel like they had a candidate that was progressive enough or that sort of shared their frustration with direction the party was taking nationally and in the state. So I agreed to give it a shot, and that was sort of the impetus for running. But the sort of my own emotional reason for running is that I am worried that if Democrats can't really capture the grassroots momentum, then the midterm elections are going to be less than we hope for, and that is something we cannot afford. We can't afford it with the climate. We can't afford it. I am incredibly worried that there are a lot of people who are ready to stop participating in the party unless they can really start to feel like they're connecting to the party again. And so that's what's driving me to keep running. It is frustrating for me to try and express this. About half the reactions have been positive, like well said, and this is exactly what I'm feeling, and the other half have been negative. If you criticize someone on your own team, you will never win. And you don't have enough experience, you're not good at fundraising. And there are a lot of, it's not good to be too critical or offensive to people, but I'm specifically trying to criticize the party and not individuals, and not criticize it in a way where I'm trying to burn the party down, but in a way where I'm trying to help us find flaws and repair them, or find something we're doing okay but could do better. In terms of experience, I do have experience organizing, leading. I chaired a group of very young adults. We won't give them any adjectives, but they're great people. And it does take a lot of work and a lot of team building and relationships. In terms of fundraising, there's nothing in the party bylaws that says fundraising is a responsibility of the chair. There's a separate subcommittee specifically for fundraising. I think a good leader is someone that's going to have vision, someone that can build an emotional connection to voters and relate to how they're feeling, and someone that can build a good team. There's no one that can do all the tasks of chair alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would add, just to finish off, is that I'm expressly running for interim chair, not for chair. I do not see myself doing this long-term or being the long-term solution for the party. I want to get us to the normal reorganization in November and make sure that election is transparent and accessible and democratic for anyone that might be interested in joining the party. I think it's unfair to swap out chairs now with sort of a 2-month scramble, and then come November, whoever wins is going to be the incumbent, and would be favored to win. Even if there are new people who want to get involved, they wouldn't be able to because of that disadvantage. So I'm trying to run as interim chair. I want to bring more people into the party. I want to make sure November is a good reorganization and everyone has a chance to run.
Great. So thank you. I was listening to you and also trying to keep the lights from being turned off in the room that I was in. So
no problem.
I was thinking all of a sudden it was the Capitol Police are closing down the State House for the day, and the lights. I'm in the floor of the house, so I apologize. I was doing my best to be attentive to both, but I thought you'd probably wonder what the hell was going on if all of a sudden I went black. So apologize. Okay. Thank you for the clarity that you're seeing yourself in an interim role and acknowledging, that where you're coming from, and I think it's good to hear your passion and your thoughtfulness around engagement, and so. So I'm not to not to force you to be too critical, because I know you're trying to balance constructive criticism with with your desire to serve. But you did talk a little bit about some of the ways in which you see the Vermont Democratic Party maybe has not done everything that it should to win over the voters. Obviously, we lost the governor's race, but I was just wondering if you had some ideas of the kind of the key places where you see us needing to do work, and with I have a lot of criticisms myself, so of myself and also of others. So I don't want you to think that you're alone in wanting to be better.
I will note that I just got the low battery notification on my phone, so I'm going to try and be quick and hope it doesn't cut out.
Okay, well, if it does, the broadcast will stop. I'll stop it, and we'll post what we've had time for. And I'm really glad that you had a chance to give a full statement of what your thinking is.
I'll try to say a few things quickly. Some things are basically it's not any individual's fault, but responsiveness. Just having information on the website, responding to emails, having information available about how to get involved in the party or how to run for local office. Every time I try to get a young adult involved, they're like, what is the select board? What is the town committee? What is a county committee? What does it do? I had to learn this all from scratch just by going through it. The party does not put enough emphasis on trying to make it easy to digest how it functions. Mm-hmm. It doesn't put enough emphasis on building a local bench. We never have a bench for the legislator because we're never focusing on town boards or commissions. We're not focusing on select boards or city councils. And if we did focus on that, even though it's nonpartisan, we would build a bench. That'd be better for the legislator. We'd get more candidates. And it would really help make government and politics more accessible. So it's stuff like that, just looking for where people who aren't involved in politics might have blind spots, like what is a select board, what is a town committee, and trying to fill those blind spots for them. So when they do sort of light up and want to get involved, we have an easy answer for them and can say, here's a pamphlet, or here's a solution, or here's something you might be interested in, instead of sort of having to stumble through the process and learn as you go. So it's not that there's like, this person is really mean and needs to leave the party. It's we really need to just pivot our focus a little more to the local level, more to the new member level, more to the voter that may not know anything about politics level, and really try and bring those people in rather than focusing on people who already know about politics, or people that are already donating to the party, or people that already volunteer. We need those people, but we also need the new people. So that would be one of my criticisms, is that we don't make that a focus, and we lose for it.
Do you see any particular strategies in different regions of the state, needing to be different? I mentioned earlier in my first conversation that we have 2 members in Rutland County, 2 members in Franklin County, not a lot more than that, if any more than that, in the Northeast Kingdom and Essex County and Orleans.
Yeah.
So just talk to me about your thoughts there on geography and message, and really, why is our message, in your opinion, why is our message failing to reach people in that area? Or is it not the message, but the bench and sort of the bottom-up process?
Right. Just got the second low battery notification. I'll say quickly that the people that did ask me to run were from the more conservative areas of the state. And it's because they feel like the Democratic Party often overlooks those conservative areas, because they focus more on strong Democrats or leaning Democrats, the votes they know they can get, instead of the votes they know will be more difficult. If you talk to field organizers from the last coordinated campaign, they'll talk about how quotas, phone banking quotas or canvassing quotas, may work really great in Chittenden, but will be completely different in somewhere more rural, like the outskirts of Rutland County. So it's changing that focus so that field organizers have more say in what works for them. It's changing the focus so we're not overlooking independents or even conservatives. It's making sure that we're trying to knock every door, contact every voter, not just the ones we know already like us. In terms of messaging, I think Bernie proved that there are a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that agree on a lot of issues, or at least on where we want to get on those issues. And it's trying to find more common ground and less partisan language. I think if we talk about protecting people's civil rights, if we talk about protecting people's economic rights, that sort of message will resonate more, because it's not as issues based. It's more people oriented rather than big business oriented, which is one of the big complaints people have, is campaign finance, the big funding, the big money, the big fundraisers. So it's that pivot back to the areas that have been ignored. Whether it's the new voter, whether it's the conservative voter, whether it is the voter that cannot donate a lot. It's pivoting back to that and trusting the local level more, trusting the grassroots level more.
Great. So I would like to wrap up so that you don't have to disappear before you've had a chance to sort of say goodbye to whoever might watch this. Does that work for you? I don't want to take away.
Yep.
Okay. So thank you so much for doing this. Why don't you offer any final thoughts, and then I'll sign us off.
Great.
Anything you want to add?
I think what I've heard from people who do not like my candidacy is that I am hard to work with. And I just want to say that I am not hard to work with. I am passionate, but we're at a difficult time in America and in Vermont where if we don't really get organized, we're going to have big trouble defeating Republicans in the midterms. And so, turn anything down, I'm just target so that really.
Looks like I may have lost you. Oh no, I see you there. You went for a second. So your last few words, if you want to try to re-say them, then you can, or if not,
Okay.
I'm happy to sign us off here.
I was simply saying that I don't know what you did here, but I was saying that I'm not trying to burn the party down. I'm not trying to be too critical. I'm not trying to be hard to work with. I'm worried that 2018 will not be good for us unless we can get on track, unless we can get on target with the new voters, with the rural voters, with the more independent voters. If we can't bring those people in, 2018 is going to be really hard for us. So I'm not trying to be difficult to work with or angry or point a finger at anyone. I'm really trying to get us on track, so that people don't walk away from the Democratic Party like that. That's what I'm doing here. I don't want people to walk away from the party, but there are people that are angry, and if those people aren't heard, then I don't know how else to keep them in the party. So that's
thank you. That came through clearly. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad we were able to pull this off, and I'm heading home to Brattleboro tonight, sleeping in my own bed for the first time this week, but then I'll be back here to Montpelier tomorrow, and I expect I will see you there.
Great. Well, thank you for calling.
And absolutely. And I'll send you the link to this so that if you would like to share it with anybody, you're able to do so.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good night.